What we're going to do now is I'm going to unmute all the speakers and everybody else and just let everybody have a chat. And the first 5 minutes are going to be recorded, and then we're going to stop the recording and let everybody just have fun. And this is when things get really interesting usually. So with that, I'm going to just go and allow everybody to unmute themselves. And thank you very much. Oh, and one more thing, we're going to stop now for Black Hat. So the next event is going to be on the 14th of August. And there's only going to be probably 2 events until we hit the break. Moon, perhaps you can start us off and tell us what you actually learned from today, which is people's systems, right? People's background. This is what you actually care about.
It is what I care about, and a lot of this is the overarching theme, which I think several other people pointed out in the chat today, which is like a lot. I think many people came to this. I saw several hundred here at one point. Maybe they don't even know what MCPs are. Like when I first encountered them, which for me was 2 weeks ago, in a serious endeavor, I'm like, what is the difference between this and a REST API, right? And now it's sort of sussing out that difference that really makes it. Also, the other major pattern I'm seeing here is, especially with Fyodor, and who seems to think a lot like myself, where it's like, this is getting way too expensive for me to keep paying Microsoft. Can I just put a Bitcoin miner behind me, right here in my server rack, and then start running a lot of queries locally? And then when it gets too slow, then I start querying the big dogs,
Yeah, well, the thing, like, to think of MCP is just a layer that basically hooks your RESTful to your Cloudy model. Like, I'm not aware of other easy-to-go technology that could basically allow you to do this. But with MCP, like, Cloudy is actually very good at generating MCP server. So you just feed it API document and you say, I want MCP around this, and it builds like the basic frame.
Yeah, that's like, I feel like Dean was sort of digging into something that is also popping up around this, where you go, hey, Cloud, go generate me this module, and then I'm hooking up that module to another module that was generated to another module that's generated. Then you hit a bug, and you're like, okay, where's the bug, right? And it's not like it's writing lots of error out code and things like that. I think that's why we were looking for a sandbox, because it's going to get to a point where these are so large that I can't just throw the whole code base in. Or maybe I'm wrong, and Matthias is like, why can't you just throw the whole code base in? And that becomes a debug issue or an ongoing stability issue, frankly.
Yeah, my workflow is usually generated like 2 or 3 times and then fix the rest manually, because as you go deeper, it puts new things and it breaks something else. So it's easier to basically get a basic frame going and then like fix the bugs manually.
Yeah, Fyodor, I was actually kind of curious. I think you're the one commenting that you use Kimi and like these other self-host models, and I don't know if you do it for like both analysis and coding, but I was kind of curious, like, let's say if like for folks who do cloud code, there's like, Opus mode where it's kind of smart, and then sonnet mode when you get rate limited and kind of gets dumb. I often actually just turn it off when I hit sonnet mode, because I'm like, it's not worth my time. I'll just go do something else. But like when you like, how would you compare like when you do the self-hosted models? Like, do you feel like it's like Opus, it feels like Sonnet, or it's like below Sonnet? Like, where would you, like, is it worth your time? Like how do you think about that?
So if you use it for code generation, I would say the Cloudy's Sonnet model is actually generates more robust code. Like most of the time, 1 or 2 tries, you get stuff running. With self-hosted models, so far, if you need to generate the code, it sometimes just generates you gibberish. Like generate me a rootkit. Of course, it will not reject you to generate a rootkit, but it will give you a 3-liner and like, this is your rootkit. But what I find the self-host model useful for, if you have obfuscated script and give me interpretation and tell me what it does, like Cloudy doesn't like to do this. They're like, it's a security tool. You need to talk to security analysts. Like, I think they have some guardrail there. So with this stuff, like the local model, when it's a basic task, it basically just needs to look into the code and do some routine deobfuscation of Perl or JavaScript or Python, then it's useful. So I think for simple tasks that might be violating the guardrails, that's what I find the self-host models useful for. And the nice thing, you can like in Visual Studio, you can actually switch between different models. So once you notice you hit a guardrail, you can basically just go change the model and run those queries to the local model and then switch back to Cloudy.
Does anyone then find the self-hosted effective like outside of the censorship scenario? Like does anyone get productive with those? Like we do them actually for like data extraction. We used to do them for a while when we had like fire hoses and we'd use them just because like is like volume. But even there we found it was like cheap enough on the cloud that even there we got rid of the self-hosted. So I'm kind of curious, yeah, like does anyone outside of the censorship?
I've had a lot of luck with GLM lately for like open web UI chatbot sort of use cases. I haven't had as much luck on the coding front yet. But for chatbot, general, like use tools, use MCPs to go say smart things, GLM 4.5 is actually quite good.
Yeah, look at the post that I shared, like translate to English. So CertU actually found APT28 malware component that would be pulling a model from Hugging Face and using it as a to generate the common interpretation. So yeah, APT28 found it useful.